YouTube, what's going on? It's Mesa back at it with some Destiny 2. All right, little funny story for you tonight. And also, we're going to review an exotic that I'm going to predict, calling it right now, folks. This is probably going to be the gold standard for warlocks within Trials of the Nine. And that will all make sense in a second, but let me tell you the quick story. So, Raul the Ghoul, finally gave me a new exotic. What did he give me? He gave me an exotic warlock chess piece called the Sanguine Alchemy. I think that's how you pronounce it. So when I, well, here's the funny story. When I tweeted out that I got this, someone asked me, new vid on this? And I was like, the main perk isn't all that interesting. Because I read it on paper. Well, I read the perk on paper. We'll get into it. You know, I have to babble in the beginning here. And then I started using it in PvE, and I was like, that's not so great. But then Patty Hennessy from Vicarious Visions, he said, try it in PvP. Now, you see that little, I think that's 100 down there. You see he's being tracked right now? That's one of the main perks in here. This is going to give us warlocks not only Night Stalker type of radar tracking, as you can see in the top left corner, but also as we stand in our rift, we could see people up to 30 meters through walls, as long as you're standing in the rift. And not only is it for you, but it's for your allies. Now, the main perk of this thing is called Heightened Senses. Standing in a rift grants an enhanced radar and marks high priority targets for you and your allies. That's why I didn't think it was so great, because I took it right into PvE, like, you know me, PvE scrub. Took it into PvE, okay, it marks yellow bars, big deal. It doesn't do any extra damage like Foe Tracer. However, this is going to become very good, I think, in competitive. So here I am just standing in my rift, and I know this Dawnblade is active. He's coming around the corner. I'm going to start laying into him, and then his super runs out, and he gets wasted. Now, as I said before, I think this is going to be great in competitive. Now, watch me just whip this rocket here, but I still get the kill. I think this is going to be great for competitive and somewhat fun for shenanigans in quick play. Now, quick play, because you basically have to camp. Yeah, you have to stay in the rift for your radar to become basically like a Night Stalker radar, and also track those enemies up to 30 meters through the walls. So in playing with this thing all night, I was thinking to myself, you know, I did 2 flawless cards this weekend, right? Of course, I was carried. I did pull off a few plays here and there. But I was thinking of the applications this would have for competitive and for trials. Like this weekend, the game mode was survival, and the map was one of the new Warmind maps. I forget the name. I think it's Solitude or something like that. I don't know. I always get it wrong. But I was thinking about, you know what, we were spending a lot of time in the main room. I think it's like bunker, or I don't know. We were calling it the Rasputin room. But we were hanging out in there, somewhat maybe about 20 meters away from where power would spawn, and either staying in there and picking people off from either slopes or from caves. But if you have 2 warlocks that are running this, right, and they just keep popping rifts one after another, let's say you go in with 3 warlocks, and you constantly have tracking up to 30 meters to tell where people are coming from. I think this would be even better in game modes like Countdown. Because if you think about it, right, so let's say you're a warlock, you've got these on, you go plant the bomb, then you move over a little bit to the side, you put your rift down. When you start to think the enemies are coming closer, remember, no more radar in competitive anymore, but now you could see people through walls as soon as they get within 30 meters. And at first I was confused at the distance, because when I tested it in PvP and wasn't blown away by it, I was like, oh, okay, they kind of have to be close. Now, I'm thinking in PvP, if they made it any further, like 40 or 50 meters, I think that would be a little broken, I think. So I think 30 meters is perfect for PvP. So the end conclusion is PvE, I don't really see too many uses for it. Or I have other exotics I'd rather use for PvE, like Vesper of Radius, Ophidian Aspect. I'm telling you, man, you can't get those Ophidian Aspects off my Warlock. I love them so much. But Vesper Radius is so good when you're doing the raid, or when you're doing the throne room for Callus, and you're going from plate to plate. You're going to get a rift for every plate almost. But for PvP applications, you can have a really good time with this, and I'm predicting already, once the Trials of the Nine competitive pro warlocks get their hands on this thing, I think they're going to like this thing a lot. So am I out of my gall by saying this thing's going to be the gold standard for warlocks in competitive? I mean, well, what other exotic would you rather use within competitive? I mean, for me, I'm always using Ophidian Aspect to PvP. I don't use Vesper Radius. I don't use the Sunbracers. What else is there? I think this is going to be really good. Let me know in the comment section. 1, if you have these, have you tried them? 2, if you have you tried them in PvP? And 3, if you're an MLG Pro and you're using this already, leave me feedback in the comment section. And I just remembered another exotic I think a lot of PvP folks like to use, Transversive Steps, because you do get that movement speed is increased while sprinting.
sprinting, but then also you get energy weapons are automatically reloaded. I personally don't use them. I loved transversive steps in D1, not so much in D2. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video, guys. Babble mode's been engaged this entire time. Leave me a hashtag made it to the end if you did make it to the end, and do me a favor, drop a like at this video only if you see fit. Follow me on Twitter at Mesa Sean. Check out my stream, usually and always on YouTube, and that's it. I am out of here like Vladimir.